Venezuela, a country endowed with the world's largest crude oil reserves, is paradoxically grappling with a severe gasoline shortage that has left its citizens in distress. This situation raises critical questions about the management of its vast natural resources and the underlying factors contributing to this crisis. Despite being a major oil producer, the scarcity of gasoline has become a daily reality for many Venezuelans, highlighting a complex interplay of external sanctions and internal mismanagement. Historically, Venezuela has relied heavily on its oil wealth to fuel its economy and support social programs. The state-owned oil company, Petróleos de Venezuela, was once a powerhouse in the global oil market, generating significant revenue that was used to fund various initiatives. However, years of mismanagement, corruption, and lack of investment in infrastructure have severely crippled the oil industry. The decline in production capacity has not only affected the availability of crude oil but has also led to a drastic reduction in gasoline output. The impact of US sanctions has further complicated Venezuela's situation. In recent years, the US government has imposed a series of sanctions aimed at curtailing the Venezuelan government's access to international financial markets and oil revenues. These sanctions have targeted PDVSA and its ability to export oil, leading to a significant drop in foreign currency income. As a result, the government has struggled to import essential goods, including gasoline, which is crucial for daily life in Venezuela. Internal factors, such as the deterioration of the country's refining capacity, have also played a significant role in the gasoline crisis. Venezuela's refineries, which were once among the most advanced in Latin America, have fallen into disrepair due to a lack of maintenance, investment, and skilled labor. This decline has led to a situation where the country is unable to refine enough crude oil to meet its domestic gasoline needs, forcing the government to rely on imports, which have become increasingly difficult to secure. The consequences of the gasoline shortage are profound. Venezuelans face long lines at gas stations, often waiting for hours or even days to fill their tanks. This situation has not only disrupted daily life but has also had a cascading effect on the economy, hampering transportation and commerce. The scarcity of gasoline has led to increased prices on the black market, further exacerbating the economic hardships faced by the population. Join us as we delve into the complexities of why oil-rich Venezuela is facing significant gasoline shortages. Before we dive in, if you haven't already, we encourage you to subscribe and turn on notifications by clicking the bell icon to stay informed about our latest videos. The discovery of oil in Venezuela dates back to 1914, when the first commercial oil well was drilled in the Min Grande field. By the 1920s, the country emerged as a significant player in the global oil market, with production soaring from just over 1 million barrels to 137 million barrels annually by 1929, making Venezuela the second largest oil producer after the United States. This rapid growth was facilitated by foreign investment and the backing of military dictator Juan Vicente Gómez, who allowed foreign companies to exploit the country's resources. Venezuela's economy became heavily reliant on oil, with the sector accounting for over 90% of total exports by the late 1930s. The influx of oil revenue led to the phenomenon known as Dutch disease, where the currency appreciated and other sectors of the economy were neglected. In response to foreign dominance in the oil industry, the Venezuelan government implemented the Hydrocarbons Law of 1943, requiring foreign companies to share profits with the state, significantly increasing government revenue. The establishment of the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, in 1960 further solidified Venezuela's role in the global oil market. As a founding member, Venezuela coordinated with other oil-producing nations to stabilize prices and enhance state control over oil resources. This period saw Venezuela's per capita income soar, particularly during the 1970s oil boom, when oil prices quadrupled due to geopolitical tensions, making it the wealthiest nation in Latin America. In 1976, President Carlos Andrés Pérez nationalized the oil industry, creating Petróleos de Venezuela to manage oil production. This move aimed to ensure that oil revenues benefited the Venezuelan state and its citizens. However, the nationalization led to increased bureaucracy and inefficiencies, and by the 1980s, falling oil prices triggered a severe economic downturn. The government accrued massive foreign debt, leading to austerity measures that sparked public unrest and riots. The election of Hugo Chavez in 1998 marked a significant turning point in Venezuela's oil history. Chavez's administration sought to leverage the country's oil wealth to fund social programs aimed at reducing poverty and inequality. While his policies initially led to improvements in social indicators, they also resulted in the mismanagement of PDVSA, particularly after the 2002 and 2003 oil strike, which saw the dismissal of thousands of experienced workers. This loss of expertise severely impacted oil production capacity, which began to decline from its peak in the early 2000s. Chavez's government also pursued aggressive foreign policy initiatives, providing subsidized oil to allied nations, which further strained the country's resources. By the time Chavez passed away in 2013, Venezuela's oil production had already begun to falter, setting the stage for the economic crisis that would follow under his successor, Nicolas Maduro. The sanctions imposed by the United States on Venezuela's state oil company, Petróleos de Venezuela, have severely disrupted fuel swaps that were previously facilitated through Citgo, its U.S. subsidiary. Citgo operates 3 refineries with a combined capacity exceeding 800,000 barrels per day and has historically played a vital role in refining Venezuelan crude oil for the U.S. market. However, following the sanctions introduced in 2019, the flow of crude oil from Venezuela to Citgo was halted, leading to a significant reduction in the availability of refined products. Although the U.S. government eased some sanctions in late 2022, allowing Chevron to resume limited operations in Venezuela, the broader sanctions framework still restricts PDVSA's ability to export oil freely. The interruption of fuel swaps with Citgo has left Venezuela unable to access refined gasoline, further aggravating domestic shortages. The situation is compounded by Citgo's impending auction, which could potentially transfer ownership of the company to creditors, further complicating Venezuela's access to its own refining capabilities. In addition to the challenges posed by sanctions on Citgo, Venezuela has faced significant pressure from other international trade partners, including Repsol, Eni, and Reliance Industries. These companies have historically been involved in joint ventures and crude oil transactions with PDVSA. However, the geopolitical climate and the U.S. sanctions regime have created a chilling effect on their willingness to engage with Venezuela. Repsol and Eni, both European oil companies, have been cautious in their dealings with PDVSA due to the risk of U.S. penalties. The U.S. government has made it clear that any company engaging in significant transactions with Venezuela could face repercussions, which has led to a withdrawal from or reduction in operations by these firms. Similarly, Reliance Industries, an Indian conglomerate, has also faced pressure not to supply gasoline to Venezuela, fearing sanctions that could jeopardize its broader business interests. This pressure has effectively isolated Venezuela from many potential sources of gasoline imports, leaving the country with limited options to alleviate its fuel shortages. The reluctance of these companies to engage with PDVSA has not only impacted the supply of gasoline but has also restricted the flow of foreign investment necessary for the revitalization of Venezuela's oil sector. Another critical factor affecting Venezuela's gasoline supply is the decision by Russia's state-controlled oil company, Rosneft, to halt operations in the country. Rosneft has been a significant player in Venezuela's oil sector, providing not only investment but also operational support. The company's involvement helped Venezuela maintain a degree of oil production amidst the sanctions. However, as geopolitical tensions have escalated, particularly following Russia's invasion of Ukraine, Rosneft has faced increasing pressure from Western governments. In response, the company has scaled back its operations in Venezuela, further diminishing the country's ability to produce and refine oil. The cessation of Rosneft's activities has left a void in Venezuela's oil industry, exacerbating the already critical shortages of gasoline. The combination of these factors, interrupted fuel swaps with Citgo, pressure on international trade partners, and the withdrawal of Rosneft, has created a perfect storm for Venezuela's gasoline supply crisis. As the country struggles to meet its domestic fuel needs, the implications for the economy and daily life are profound. Long lines at gas stations, rampant inflation, and a deteriorating quality of life are just a few of the consequences of this multifaceted crisis.